Spatial phenomena are pretty crazy. I'm your host Yusuf, and these are 10 scary things a solar flare can do when it hits Earth. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's get hot. Number 10. UV radiation and X-rays. X-rays and extreme ultraviolet radiation emitted by solar flares are absorbed by the daylight side of Earth's atmosphere and do not reach the Earth's surface. Therefore, solar flares pose no direct danger to humans on Earth. However, this absorption of high-energy electromagnetic radiation can temporarily increase the ionization of the upper atmosphere, which can interfere with shortwave radio communication and can temporarily heat and expand the Earth's outer atmosphere. This expansion can increase drag on satellites in low Earth orbit, which can lead to orbital decay over time. Number 9. Radio blackouts. The temporary increase in ionization of the daylight side of Earth's atmosphere, in particular the D layer of the ionosphere, can interfere with shortwave radio communications that relay on its level of ionization for skywave propagation. Skywave, or skip, refers to the propagation of radio waves reflected or refracted off of the ionized ionosphere. When ionization is higher than normal, radio waves get degraded or completely absorbed by losing energy from the more frequent collisions with free electrons. The level of ionization of the atmosphere correlates with the strength of the associated solar flare in soft X-ray radiation. The NOAA classifies radio blackouts by the peak soft X-ray intensity of the associated flare. Number 8. Magnetic crochet. The increased ionization of the D and E layers of the ionosphere caused by large solar flares increases the electrical conductivity of these layers, allowing for the flow of electric currents. This phenomenon is known as a magnetic crochet or solar flare effect, or SFE. Its former name comes from its appearance on magnetometers resembling a crochet hook. These disturbances are on the order of a few nanoteslas, which is relatively minor compared to those induced by geomagnetic storms. Number 7. Power outages. Have you heard about the Carrington event in 1859? The big solar flare had a major impact on Earth, including downed power grids. Even in the 1980s, a geomagnetic storm induced by solar flares caused a catastrophic power outage in Quebec, Canada, knocking out millions of people. Similar occurrences could occur today if a big solar flare strikes the Earth. If this occurs, the energy grid will be disrupted, and everything that is powered by electricity will cease to work. Number 6. The frequency of solar flares. This is the good news. The good news is that CMEs large enough to cause disruptions such as the 1859 storm are uncommon. For the most severe damage to occur, a CME must be aimed in such a way that Earth catches the brunt of the blast. Fortunately, solar activity follows an 11-year cycle in which all types of solar activity, including the number of sunspots, the frequency of flares, and the degree of mass ejections, change from high to low and back to high. However, we are approaching the cycle's peak, which NASA expects will occur this autumn. Number 5. GPS interruptions. GPS navigation disruptions caused by solar flares primarily occur due to the interaction between the sun's charged particles and the Earth's ionosphere. When a solar flare occurs, it releases a burst of high-energy particles, including protons and electrons, into space. Some of these particles reach the Earth and interact with the upper layers of the atmosphere, particularly the ionosphere. The ionosphere is a region of the Earth's atmosphere that contains a high concentration of ions and free electrons. It plays a crucial role in reflecting and refracting radio waves, including those transmitted by GPS satellites. The radio waves transmitted by GPS satellites pass through the ionosphere on their way to receivers on the ground. Any irregularities or disruptions in the ionosphere could cause the GPS signals to scatter, delay, or be absorbed. Number 4. Satellite damage. The particles that are generated can penetrate the outer layers of satellites and damage their sensitive electronic components. The radiation can cause bit flips, latch-ups, and other forms of electronic malfunctions, potentially leading to permanent or temporary satellite failures. Charged particles from solar flares can accumulate on the surface of satellites, causing electrostatic charging. This charging can disrupt the normal operation of satellite systems and components, affecting their performance or even causing malfunctions. Intense solar flares can generate generate increased ionization in the Earth's ionosphere, which can affect the propagation of radio waves. Satellites relying on radio frequency communications may experience signal degradation or interruptions due to the altered ionospheric conditions during a solar flare event. Number 3. Cancelled flights. Solar flares can cause radio wave disturbances and ionospheric irregularities that affect high-frequency or HF radio communications used in aviation. HF communications are crucial for long-distance communication between pilots and air traffic control. Solar flares can also lead to inaccuracies in GPS signals, as discussed earlier. The disruptions in GPS navigation caused by solar flares can affect flight management systems and onboard navigation equipment that rely on GPS data. This can result in potential errors in aircraft positioning, route guidance, and approach procedures. Number 2. Aurora Borealis and Australis. The Aurora Borealis, also known as the Northern Lights, and the Aurora Australis, known as the Southern Lights, are mesmerizing natural light displays that occur in the Earth's polar regions. The Northern and Southern Lights are caused by the interaction between the Earth's magnetic field and charged particles from the Sun. When these particles reach the Earth, they collide with atoms and molecules in the upper atmosphere, primarily oxygen and nitrogen, and the collisions between the charged particles and atmospheric atoms or molecules excite them to higher energy states. As these excited atoms or molecules return to their normal energy states, they emit light in the form of photons. The colors of the auroras depend on the type of atom or molecule involved in the process. Oxygen typically produces green and red colors, while nitrogen contributes to blue and purple hues. Number 1. Damage to electronics. When particles impact electronic devices, they can induce electrical currents in the circuits. These induced currents, known as direct current injection, can disrupt the normal operation of electronic components, leading to malfunctions or failures. SEUs occur when high-energy particles, such as those from solar flares, strike sensitive areas within electronic devices, causing transient errors or changes in the stored information. SEUs can lead to temporary malfunctions, memory corruption, or data loss. Critical systems, such as those used in aerospace or nuclear industries, employ error checking and correction techniques to mitigate the impact of SEUs. The radiation from solar flares can cause ionization and displacement of atoms within semiconductor materials. This can result in defects, lattice damage, and changes in the electronic properties of the semiconductors. Such damage can degrade the performance or reliability of electronic devices, especially those with high semiconductor content, such as integrated circuits. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary things a solar flare can do when it hits Earth. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything, and we hope you have a scary day.